Okay, so after all of that design work, it's time to finally try and build this roof rack. First thing I had to do was to cut these aluminium profile pieces down to size to make the vertical pieces. Didn't want to make a mistake here, so I was pretty careful with the lining it up. Took my time. Needed a total of 10 pieces, so took a little while to do it, but it was pretty straightforward. Once I'd cut all 10 of them and checked they were all the right size, next thing I need to do is to make a thread. So obviously I've got to screw bolts in to both ends of these profiles. Now, I'd never done this before, but turns out there's a special tool for making threads, and didn't take too long to figure it out, and kind of worked quite well. I 3D printed myself a little jig to hold the threading tool straight. You can see the threading tool there, so I can pop that into my little jig there, and that slots on the top. Just keeps it straight as it screws down, so the thread is as straight as I can make it. The process is pretty straightforward. There's a bit of cutting fluid. And it's a slow process, but it's not complicated. Full turn forward, half a turn back. Full turn forward, and half a turn back. And full turn forward. And half a turn back, and repeat a lot. Occasionally you'll need to clear out all of the gunk. And then a quick test with the bolt, make sure the thread has been cut properly. Only another 19 of those to do. You can see here I've marked on the top of the roof with the laser where I need to make holes. That's based on the design that I showed in the last video.
Okay, so it's a slightly scary moment because I'm going to make a hole in the roof. In fact, I'm going to make quite a lot of holes in the roof. Now I'm going to make the holes bigger. So yeah, I wish you really luck. So that was pretty good, nice clean hole, nothing horrible happened, the fiberglass didn't chip. I'm going to make this same small hole in all 5 of the mounting points, and then I'm going to use these to check how well I've lined this up, because they should form a really straight line along the roof, and I can check that with the laser, I think. So I'm going to do that, and provided they're all right, I've made this, and the idea is that this is just going to sit in that little hole and provide me with a mask for the square that I want to cut out, and I'm going to use a Dremel for that. Just use a cutting wheel. There might be better ways to do it, but I think that should work all right, as long as I'm a bit careful with the dust. I've checked how well these line up, and I'm not happy with it. So I've done a little bit more work with the laser from some different angles, and it looks like these front two holes are maybe 10 to 20 mil too far in. The sort of fourth hole there seems to be almost bang on, and I thought that was the one that was out. The third hole wasn't far off, so I'm gonna make some more holes and see if they line up a bit better. That, in theory, is the first hole made, and it's not far off. It doesn't seem to be far off where I'd expect it to be. The Dremel cut through the fiberglass quite nicely, just taking it slowly. So now I've got to shape the bottom of this to fit in this little groove here properly. Right, so the basic principle seems to be alright. I've just chopped off the end of a screw to make sure that it lines up perfectly, and it does. I've probably taken a little bit more off there than I need to, but otherwise that kind of basically works. I mean, that's what I had in mind. What I'm going to do is try and get all of these 5, well, actually I've done 4, so I'm not sure about the one at the back, but at least get these 4 all done, drilled a hole under here so that I can get the bolt and the washers through the hole into the thread that I cut in the profile, and it seems to have sort of taken quite strongly. I think ultimately I'll Loctite that on, but I want to get it all assembled first, and before I put in anything as permanent as that. So as you can see, we're getting there. The front one is the wrong length, so I've had to recut that one. Luckily I had enough spare. I don't think I'm going to bother with the 5th one, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm going to have to... Oh, thanks birds. Yeah, I'm going to have to call it quits for today though, so I have to find some way to make the van weatherproof again, at least until I can get back to it next weekend. So I wanted to show you these little things that I've made. It's like a little jig that will slide up and down the profile. So this is going to be the roof rail for the roof rack. Obviously I need to drill the holes to fit the bolts in.
So using that first jig, I managed to drill the top half of the hole. It was a bit of a problem, the drill kept catching, a nightmare really. The second hole, going all the way through, smaller, using the other jig, that was a lot easier. Unfortunately though, it was slightly off center, which you'll see here.
With a bit of tidying up, that's fitting in there all right. I think it should be snug enough for to get things across and down the channel. So I'm reasonably happy with that. Not quite then. Okay, that's one done, and that's taken me hours. So I'm gonna need to get a bit quicker. Attempt number 2. This time I'm gonna start with the smaller hole, because I think that might help the larger hole center itself a bit better. I mean, because of this bit here, really I need some kind of round grinder that's going to make the hole rather than a drill, because that just gets caught in there. But I don't have one of those, so I've just got to solder on, I think. Unfortunately, right, that's the way to break a drill, isn't it? Oh no, and I've broken the drill. Right, well, well and truly snapped the end off this drill, which is really annoying because I bought this brand new and it was an expensive cobalt tipped drill and it was very good at drilling through things. So I'm going to have to go and get another drill bit. I might get a couple of those. I think the problem is, because this is a profile, as the drill goes through, it comes into the void in the middle, which is pretty close. It's about 7.6 mil, so it's pretty close to the size of the drill, and it's just catching. And really, I need to go a lot slower, a lot more careful. But I guess I was just being a bit impatient. So there we go. Best go to the shops. Right, so on to number 3. Hopefully this time I'm going to have more luck. So drilling very slowly the first half and the second half. And then I'm going to use a succession of drills all the way from 8, 9, 10, 11 up to the 13 to slowly make that hole a bit larger, which I think is going to work better.
Right, it's probably the third weekend now of trying to build this roof rack, which has become a bit of a challenge. It's generally gone okay. There's lots of things I've forgotten about and fixed, and that's fine. I'm now kind of on the final stage. I've fitted and trimmed the vertical pieces, and adjusted things so they connect up with the rails. Drilled the rails, which was an adventure in itself. 4 drill bits I broke, and I've got everything lined up. I was really careful, kept sort of taking stuff apart and putting it back together and lining things up and making sure things were in the right place, and connecting the rail back up when the sealant was curing, all this kind of thing. Now I've just fitted the final 4 top pieces, and on the left hand side of the van they've lined up really well, and the rail has slotted in place and tightened down really nicely, and I've got a fair bit of tidying up to do for the where I've got bits of the sealant all over everything, which is, I suppose, par for the course. In my defence, it was dark and raining when I was doing it, and the stuff gets everywhere. However, on the right hand side I've got a bit of a problem, because when I was putting these pieces in place, although I was making sure that they were forward and backwards lined up and left and right lined up, what I wasn't making sure of was that they were rotationally lined up. And now, because the shape of the top pieces of the sort of rain guard are quite narrow tolerances, it's not lining up, and I think the only way I'm going to be able to fix this is actually to go inside with a very big spanner. Well, it's as big as I've got anyway, and just rotate round the whole piece. Now that's probably going to put quite a lot of stress on the sealant. It may break it. I may in fact have to cut off the sealant and redo it.
but I think it's realistically the only way that I'm going to be able to do this without taking the whole lot out, and I think that's going to be very messy and very time consuming, and it's just been so damp. I just want to get I want to get this roof sealed again as soon as possible, and really it's not going to get properly sealed until this bit is all done. Anyway, that's the update, and hopefully I'll fix it. Wow, blow me down with a feather. I just did it bit by bit, gradually, a little bit of a wiggle here and there, and tightened the bolts up slowly, gently, bit by bit. Now I know that there's definitely going to be a bit of stress on some of these fixings. So I can feel the flex in the sealant that I've used, and I think that's probably what's saving me here. It's just allowing for all that, it's just making up for all my mistakes, allowing me greater tolerances than I'd designed. So that's good. So the only thing I've got to do now is just seal in the top of these bolts, which will be a kind of final thing. I want to put some Loctite on the bolts as well. I've just got to check whether I can do that when they're damp, because if I can't, then I can't do that at the moment. I might try and maybe just get I need some sort of wax or something just to plug the hole at the top of the bolt. Don't really want to use the sealant because it'll be a nightmare to get out again. I suppose it'll be alright, it's just rubbery. And it's done. Finally. I need to put some bits on these, I don't know, covers. I need to put some covers on the brackets that are keeping the crossbars on. But other than that, it's pretty much done. They were meant to come with them, but they seem to have sent me these bits instead of those bits. But I'll come up with something. But there we go. Looks alright.